What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So tonight, Dallas Cowboys take on the Houston Texans. So just kind of wanted to come on real quick, give you guys some of the things I'll be looking for in this game. So based on the things we broke down this week, I'm looking to see how the Cowboys perform in the running game. I do think the running game will be the key to whether or not the Cowboys are able to defeat the Houston Texans. I also think the intermediate passing game, the Cowboys relied a lot in the short passing game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. We saw the Eagles pretty much shut down the Cowboys after the first half. Cowboys stayed in the game for a little while, but then once the Eagles kind of figured it out, it was pretty much over. So the Cowboys do need to take more chances. We need to see that man Cooper Rush actually do more of what he did in the Atlanta game, which is push the ball downfield a little bit and see if he can have some success. The Cowboys have nothing to lose, right? Dak Prescott's injured. They have a ton of injuries. Nobody is expecting Dallas to do anything for the rest of this season. So why not take your chances, push the ball down the field a little bit, get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. I'd love to see if they got Mingle in the game this week, which I do think he's slated to play. So let's see if the Cowboys decide to get him involved in the game plan and just kind of see what they can get based on this matchup. So some of the also things I'll be looking for on defense. The Houston Texans offensive line has been having a lot of trouble this season, especially stopping the pass rush. It looks like C.J. Stroud, I believe the number is 34 sacks that he's had to this point in the season. So since he's been sacked so many times, Carl Lawson came on a little bit last week. Micah Parsons is now back. Overshown should be playing. So the Cowboys need to get after it, especially since they will not have Jordan Lewis this week. So if you add into it that they're already missing Deron Bland, now Jordan Lewis is going to be out. So you're going to be relying on Trayvon Diggs and a bunch of guys, right? I do think Israel Mukuamu is a great player in the making. Maybe not right now today, but I do think Israel Mukuamu is being underutilized by the Dallas Cowboys, and now they have no choice but to play him this week. And last week when he came to the game, he played pretty well. They replaced Carson with Mukuamu, and he played well last week. So I'm excited to see Mukuamu get a full game of chances. It seems like the Cowboys always decide to play Israel when it's a little bit too late, right? They play Israel in the playoff game a couple of years ago against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he showed up and he showed out, right? So it's kind of like every time you give this guy a chance, he makes plays, but for some reason, right after he makes plays, we sit him back down. So I'm really hoping that the Dallas Cowboys get a awakening with Israel Mukuamu in this game. But to that point, you have Nico Collins back for the Houston Texans. So C.J. Stroud has struggled quite a bit since Nico Collins has been out. Now he's back in. So that'll be a big matchup for the Cowboys because Nico Collins does tend to line up all over the formation. We already know Tank Dell's going to be a lot to handle. So I'm excited to see that matchup as well. DeMarvion Overshown and Micah Parsons, I just spoke about them a few seconds ago. I'm excited to see what they do against the Houston Texans front. That offensive line, like I said, is having some problems. But if you get, Carl Lawson playing well, you get Michael Parsons playing well, and then you get what you got on the interior last week between Mozzie Smith and Osa Odigizua. The Cowboys have some options here, but it's going to be that front. The game is going to come down to that front. If that front harasses C.J. Stroud for the majority of the game and makes him have to make difficult plays for the majority of the game, the Cowboys have a chance. But to the same token, C.J. Stroud, I know he struggled a little bit under pressure this season, but as we saw when we broke down the film, man, the guy can make all the throws, even if everything is collapsing around him. If he gets the ball off and he has an angle to make the throw, he's going to make it. He's going to be accurate. He's going to be on time, and his guys are going to have the confidence that if he gets that ball out on time, they're going to make plays for him. So it's going to come down to that Dallas Cowboys defensive front getting C.J. Stroud to the ground, making him see ghost, making them tuck the ball, making them try to run, all those different things, and try to make the game a little bit muddy and a little bit difficult for the Houston Texans. And then also, I'm excited to see, I said the run game, but specifically Rico Dowdle, right? I think this is a game where Rico Dowdle deserves a ton of touches, whether it's in the run game, whether it's in the screen game, whether it's in the short passing game on leak outs, wheel routes. Rico Dowdle has showed himself to be a capable receiver on this offense. So the Cowboys need to make sure that they're not doing the Ezekiel Elliott thing. They don't need to be getting Ezekiel Elliott 4, 5, 6, 7 touches. They don't, Hunter Lipke's going to be out this game as well. So we are going to see Ezekiel Elliott, unfortunately, but kind of needs to stick to pass protection. He does not need to be getting carries in the running game. If they want to spell, Rico Dowdle with carries, I'd much rather see some carries for Deuce Vaughn. I'd much rather see some carries for Dalvin Cook. But I'd leave all the carries out of Ezekiel Elliott's hands. Just don't give that dude the ball. Don't give him the ball. Don't. If you want to give him a screen, I'm okay with that. Give him a little pass out of the backfield. But this needs to be a Rico Dowdle game. So to get to some predictions. So I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a tough matchup. I do think the Houston Texans secondary is going to play very well. I actually expect the receiving threat to come down to Jake Ferguson against the Houston Texans linebackers. I think he'll have some chances there to make some plays in the game. I do think, like I just mentioned, Rico Dowdle will have some chances to make plays in the game. And I think it's going to come down to what kind of Cooper Rush do we get. Do we get the Cooper Rush that went 5-1, 4-1 a couple of seasons ago when Dak Prescott broke his hand and was out for a few weeks? Or do we get the Cooper Rush that played last week and kind of look lost? If we get Cooper Rush like he was against Atlanta, the Cowboys, they can put together a game plan to have a chance to be in this game. But with that being said, I'm still picking the Houston Texans to win this game. If I have to throw out a score prediction for you guys, the Cowboys have been very terrible, very awkward, very bumbling at home. They've just kind of been all over the place. So I would kind of go Houston Texans 37, Dallas Cowboys 16. That's kind of what I'm looking at. I think one touchdown and then a few field goals from Brandon Aubrey. If I see a path to victory for the Dallas Cowboys, this is the path to victory. The Dallas Cowboys run the ball very well. They have one of their better, if not their best, running game of the season. And then on top of that, the defensive line plays a very good game, if not their best game of the season. They harass C.J. Stroud. They get him to the ground multiple times. They make him see ghosts, and they get off the field a lot on third downs. Also, if the Cowboys offense sustains some drives, not even having to necessarily score, but maybe, put together more than 3 and outs, maybe 6 play drives, 8 play drives, and then they have to punt the ball. I see that being a recipe for success for the Cowboys. If the Cowboys win, it's going to be one of those games where both teams hover around or below the 20-point mark. So if we get to halftime and it's 21-10 Texans, this game is over. The Cowboys are not going to come back and win this game. But if we get to this game and it's 10-7 Texans or 7-6 Cowboys, something of that sort, then we have a chance in this game. And the Houston Texans have been pretty poor in the second half over this last stretch of the season. Over the last few games, they haven't scored a second half touchdown. They haven't scored a second half field goal. They just haven't scored in the second half, period. But they also haven't had Nico Collins that entire time. They do have him back now. Anderson, the defensive end, he'll be out. That's what their pass rush is built around. That's what their run defense is built around. So the Cowboys should be able to find some success in the passing game, and they should be able to find some success in the running game. But like I said, going with 37-16, Houston Texans dropped the Cowboys 3-7, and now we're talking about the Cowboys having a top 5 pick in the draft. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button as well. You can hit me up on Twitter at jmilleriyl. That's jmiller if you like. You can also hit me up at knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. You can also hit me up at knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can leave comments below. Tell me anything that you want me to cover, any questions that you have. I'll take them here. I'll take them on Twitter. I'll take them via email. Put them into a mailbag, make it a formal segment. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love you guys. Like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But until next time, I'm your host, J Mill. J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.